Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video slash retro review. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Super Mario All-Stars, a collection of the NES games. Four of them, and when I mean by four, I'm talking about one that never saw the light of day here in the West until it was part of the All-Star collection. That's the Lost Level. For the Nintendo Switch, as part of Switch's online service. This game was originally released back in 1993 for the Super Nintendo, and it would later be released on the Wii in 2010 for it's part of Mario's 25th anniversary. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage, I'll have a link down in the description down below, or you can click on the card that will appear up on this video though. In 1993, Nintendo released Super Mario All-Stars. This was basically a collection of four of the Mario games, including basically the original Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Bros. 2 and Super Mario Bros. 3. But it also added the Lost Levels and all. And as I mentioned, this was one that, well, let's just say from what I've understand though, this was supposed to be Super Mario Bros. 2, but never saw the light of day here in the West and all that stuff. But in your case, it was an interesting collection, and it was sort of neat how they brought all those games into one cartridge though. The game would be re-released on the Wii in 2010, but there's some controversies. Not everyone was happy with the way Nintendo approached that, including maybe a lackluster collector's edition and so forth though. So now that we have the Super Mario All-Stars that was released last year as on the Nintendo Switch online service as part of Mario's 35th anniversary, which should be coming to an end on March 31st and all that stuff. Next week, I'm hoping to do my review of Super Mario 3D World and Bowser Fury. And so now that the game is available on the Switch online service, I thought I would give it a go again and see what I thought about the title now. And I will say, the title is still good. It just may not be, for some people, are going to be kind of mixed on the fact it's available on the Nintendo Switch. Some may not like the visuals or the sound upgrades. There are some debates about that, but the overall is that it's not a bad package though, or anything like that. It may not be like super duper or anything like that, but these are still enjoyable games nevertheless. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons, and we'll start off first with the pros though. And basically it's the fact that you are getting basically four games in one in this package with Super Mario All-Stars. Basically these are updated graphics and sounds of Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Bros. 2, and Super Mario Bros. 3, all with 16 graphics and sound and all that stuff. Some people may or may not agree with the approach of going with the 16 graphics and sound, as many feel the 8-bit still holds up very well, and to some extent, I think that's true. I do think that it still holds up very well, even to this day and all, but nevertheless, at the time when the game originally came out in 1993, it was certainly for those who may have not gotten an NES at the time and just got like maybe a Super NES and all. Plus the fact that they added the Lost Levels definitely added a little bit, did add a little bit value to the package, as this was a game that the West never played until Super Mario Bros. All-Star came out. And believe me, having played the Lost Levels though, it's a very challenging game though. I mean, you have and it can be very difficult, ranging from the enemies placements to some of the level designs, which requires timing your jumps and all that stuff, to basically avoiding the poison mushrooms. Right? You got the super mushrooms, you got the one-up mushrooms, and the poison mushrooms. You touch the poison mushrooms when you're Super Mario, you'll go back to Mini Mario. Touch the poison mushroom when you're Mini Mario, you lose a life. So it added a bit of a challenge to basically that game though. It is a difficult game though, but it's still enjoyable nevertheless. But it's still a difficult game though. Either way, four games in one, and you can't really. And all four games are really good. So you can't. There's definitely value in it though. Next thing I do want to talk about is the gameplay, and as always, it's the solid 2D Mario gameplay that everyone knows and loves and all that. Though the gameplay just holds up still after all these years, after all these decades. The gameplay is still solid, especially Super Mario Bros. 3, which to me, I consider, though some may disagree with me on this, I consider that to be the greatest video game ever made. To me, that is an instant classic, no matter what. Whether it's having Mario dressed up as, you know, a Hammer Brothers suit, Frog suit, Tahuki suit, Raccoon. Either way, it's just an instant classic no matter what. The other two are still good. Super Mario, or the other three to be exact, Super Mario Brothers, the classic original game, it still holds up very well. Super Mario Brothers 2, obviously in my view, I consider it the black sheep of the Mario family. It's still a good game, don't get me wrong, even after all these years. But it certainly is different compared to what Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers 3 was. Nevertheless, it is still a good game, and I'm not dissing it or anything like that, though, so it is still an enjoyable game to be exact. And of course, you got the Lost Levels, which is a very, shall we say, a more, if the original if you spike up the difficulty from the original Super Mario Brothers. But either way, Mario Brothers 3 is still my favorite, but in either way, it's solid 2D gameplay, and that is definitely good and all. And last but not least, and I do want to talk about, and this was at the time when this game came out back in 1993, this one had an advantage that the other Mario games did not have, and that is that you can actually save your game. I know that may sound a little strange to say that in this day and age, but back then, back in like the original 80s with the original NES, you really couldn't save your game or anything like that, other than perhaps, and maybe there's something I'm missing, either like leave your TV on, or basically if you had a Game Genie to put in like a code to skip to a certain level, skip to a certain world and all that stuff, but under that, you really couldn't, like, save your game and all that stuff. And when Super Mario All-Stars came out, that definitely helped, especially, you know, to save your progress and all of that. Nowadays, though, you know, you have the quick save when you're using the Switch Online and all that stuff, so it's not really a big deal. But back then, back in 1993, it kind of was a big deal in a way, and it certainly was a nice feature back then and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, which is the cons. So we'll take a little break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my video or / retro review of Super Mario All-Stars on the Nintendo Switch. As I mentioned, this is part of Switch's online service, and as I mentioned before, the game was originally released on the Super Nintendo back in 1993 and 2010 on the Wii. So now that I gave you the pros, why don't we get started with the cons? There's really only 2 cons I could think of. One that I could think of evolves with, you know, it being on the Nintendo Switch right now and all. So I'll start off with the first one, and I will say it has to do with in terms of content, or like if you're expecting anything new or anything like that. Now I do want to point out the game is still good and all that. I don't think it's a terrible game. It plays great and all that. But as far as new content goes, outside of the Lost Levels, which is basically the Super Mario Bros. Game that us here in the West didn't get to play until when it was part of Super Mario All-Stars, though, there really isn't anything new here in terms of content-wise. There's no, you know, like levels that may have been cut out from the original game, or some of these original games, or anything like a video or anything like to show basically an idea of what thought process went through when they were developing these games and all that stuff. So if you're expecting like brand spanking like levels that were never used in the original Super Mario Bros. 3 or the original Super Mario Bros. Or Super Mario Bros. 2, you're not going to find that here or anything like that. Basically, the only new thing in Super Mario All-Stars is the Lost Levels, and as I mentioned, some of the pros that I also mentioned, like being able to save your game. But other than that, don't expect anything brand new outside of the Lost Levels in Super Mario All-Stars. The last thing I do want to talk about is basically them, and this is somewhat of a con, but not 100. Oh, that's just my cat. Okay. That's my cat. He's coming in and all. All right. Anyway, this is somewhat of a con to a certain degree, and this has to do with the fact that they decided to put this on the Nintendo part of Switch's online service as part of the Super Nintendo collection. Now, I don't think that's necessarily 100% bad or anything like that, but I'm kind of wondering, I do wonder at the same time, is it really necessary to put it up there, especially since we have, you know, like the original 8 bits in there, like the original Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Bros. 2, and Super Mario Bros. 3, and also it just feels to some degree, I just can't help but shake this feeling of, was it really necessary for them to put it on as part of the Switch's online service? Especially since there's so many other games, like, I think there was one Super Nintendo one, like Mario vs. Wario. That would be great if they were to put that up there, assuming that one is true. And also, I mean, it just feels a little bit mixed, considering we already have the 8-bit ones on basically the part of the NES games as part of Switch's online service, though. So I'm not against them putting this on, you know, the Switch in Super NES collection as part of Switch's online service. I just kind of mixed, does it really need to be there and all. Overall, though, I will say Super Mario All-Stars is still a good game and all. It's an updated version of the classic 8-bit into the 16 bits with graphics and sounds, though some still prefer the old 8-bit style and approach, though. The gameplay is still solid even after all these years. The addition of the lost levels is definitely nice, especially for those who may have never played it and all that stuff and all. But at the same time, the lost levels is really the only new thing to Super Mario All-Stars. That and the ability to save your game, although you could do like a suspension save if you're playing, you know, using Switches online and all. And I am kind of mixed of this being part of Switch's online service. I'm not against the game being there. It still is enjoyable, but to me, and this is just me, I just can't shake that feeling that, you know, we already have the Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3 on the NES collection. Does this really need to be part of the Super NES collection or anything like that? Some may say that they welcome it, others might disagree, but, you know, everyone has their own different preferences on it, though. But still, nevertheless, I will say Super Mario All-Stars is still a fun game, especially since you're getting 4 games into one, though. And it's basically for free if you're part of the Switch's online service and all that stuff. Although if you have the original cartridge, you can still play that, assuming you can be able to hook up your old Super Nintendo, or if you have one of those retro consoles, though. But either way, Super Mario All-Stars, good collection. The games still hold up very well even after all these years, even though these are updated to 16-bit graphics and sounds, though. And again, they're classic 2D Mario games. I can't go wrong with that. And call me biased. You can disagree with me if you want to, but honestly, I still think Super Mario Bros. 3 is the greatest video game ever. I ain't changing my opinion on that. I know some will disagree with me on that, but I am going to stand behind that statement. No if, ands, maybes, or buts. So for me, Super Mario Bros. 3 is still the greatest game ever made. But either case, Mario All-Stars, good collection and all. It might appeal to some people, it may not, though. But you know what? It's part of Switch's online service. They offered it for free and all, so I can't complain about that in any way. Okay, this concludes my video review of Super Mario All-Stars on the Nintendo Switch as part of Switch's online service. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Super Mario All-Stars? Are you glad that Nintendo added it as part of the Super Nintendo collection, as part of Switch's online service? Do you think you glad they added it? Do you wish they didn't add it at all? Do you think do you think they should have stayed with, you know, the 8-bit Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!